Welcome to Water Talk with Paul the Waterman, brought to you by Water Pros. Paul the Waterman is Colorado's expert on all things related to the water we use and drink in our homes. Have you ever thought about where your water actually comes from? Is it safe to drink? Is it harmful to my health, my skin, my hair? Paul the Waterman knows water, and he has the answers. Haystack Help Radio proudly presents Water Talk. Now here's your host, Scott Watley, and owner of Water Pros, Paul the Waterman.
Old Ann and I, with throats burned dry and souls that cry for water, water, cool water, clear water, water.
Take out the papers and the trash, or you don't get no spending cash. If you don't scrub that kitchen floor, you ain't gonna rock and roll no more. Yakety yak!
Don't talk back.
Just finish cleaning up your room.
Oh, Paul the Waterman is in charge of our intro every week. Welcome to Water Talk. My name is Scott Watley. I normally introduce myself as the host, but I'm not quite sure I'm in control of our openings here anymore. But Paul the Waterman joins us from Water Pros. How are you?
Don't talk back.
Don't talk about it. Just follow instructions.
How you doing today?
Good, man. How was your week?
It was wonderful. It was great. I want to say a big howdy and a thank you. We have a customer or listener that we helped out this week, and he did, what we suggested, and I'm very grateful. He did his own research.
Yeah, you called me about that, and you said, and he's been listening a while.
He's been listening for a while, and so, one of the things that I want to say thank you to is when people take it seriously. And his name is Russ, so thanks, Russ. We appreciate your business.
Russ, we appreciate it.
In Eaton, Colorado.
All right.
And so he's got a beautiful a Ford truck that he's putting back together. And so it's something that I think is like a 76 or 78. Kind of remind me when I was a kid, we had those driving around in, Sterling, Rock Falls, Illinois. It's just gorgeous. He's got a great dog.
Really? You know what's
Really
so
can be.
unique about trucks now? When you see just like a single cab truck, it's like, how did people ever drive those or fit in them? I mean, we're so used to these crew cabs now.
Well, not only that, but you didn't have the headrest. So if you're driving back, you had the split, the window that opened up, right? And so how'd we survive? And nobody used a seatbelt in those trucks back then.
Dude, we used to lay in the back window, because
Right.
you're dirty.
So I don't know how we did it.
Russ, we appreciate you listening.
Yes,
sure.
Thank you very, very much. One of the things that I want to get into today is kind of like a recap of everything that we discussed and covered for a little over a year now, right?
Yeah.
Of doing our Water Talk show, and one of the things too is I'm gonna quiz you today.
All right.
I'm gonna put you on the hot
Don't
seat.
embarrass me now.
No, I got me. So, okay, so we're going to start this out. It's 10 questions, and some of them are true or false, multiple choice. But the first one is: do you remember what hard water is? What makes up hard water?
I know I had it.
That's right, you had it.
Yeah, but
you know
no longer.
Do you know what the definition of hard water
Pros.
is?
What would that be?
It's called calcium carbonate.
Calcium carbonate.
You write that down.
I'll
Calcium
remember that
carbonate.
next. All right.
Okay. So then, do you know what the technical term for the detergent that's used in a water softener?
No, sir. I'm gonna see. I know the answer. I'm gonna put the spotlight on you. You're the expert.
Okay, it's sodium chloride.
Okay.
Okay, sodium chloride is the detergent. Now, do you understand what happens with the ion exchange process? Right, when the water softener removes one element and exchanges it for another element. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
So we got calcium carbonate, and then we have sodium chloride. So what water softening resin does, Scott, is it grabs the hardness as a liquid before it oxidizes, before it turns to that scale. Okay? So think of a resin bead has its own little gravity.
Mm-hmm.
as water runs through it, okay, and then there's the hardness molecule, and the resin attaches that, and it brings it right to its surface, okay. Based on how hard your water is, the size of your home determines the size of the water softener. So then that determines how many gallons of water that the water softener can filter before it says, "Hey, I'm full. I need to take a bath."
Right.
Okay. So the water softener makes its own detergent. So it takes water with the water softening salt, and that's sodium chloride.
Okay.
Okay. So the saline solution, I like to call it, as it runs through the resin, so then what happens? The resin is getting rinsed in a saline bath, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. It releases the hardness and grabs onto a sodium molecule. So what goes down the drain during the backwashing process is the calcium and the chloride. So the sodium chloride separates, the calcium chloride separates, and so the calcium chloride go down the drain, and then what then comes out of your faucet is sodium carbonate, which is baking soda. Now, before you put in the reverse osmosis, did you ever drink the water just strictly from the kitchen's faucet?
We never did.
Never did.
I mean, in 20 years, dude.
Never did. So the reverse, okay. So, because the reason I'm asking
And
is...
so I'm being honest about that because I really don't have anything to compare it to. I just know first time we did, man, it just wasn't good. And from then on, we bought bottled water.
Gotcha. So the water softener, a lot of people don't notice a taste difference, but then water really shouldn't have a taste. And if it does have a taste, it's the minerals in the water. Okay, here's your next question. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. Do the minerals, the hardness minerals in the water, are they a benefit to the human body?
No.
No, correct. Okay. Put that down as technically the first right answer.
Okay. I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we learned that from remember that doctor that was out of wrote that book. And he was from Nebraska. I think it was Dr. Bannock, right?
Mm-hmm.
So water hardness is an inorganic, which our body does not absorb anything that's inorganic.
Right.
So, to multiple choice question, can hard water cause kidney stones, gallstones, glaucoma, or all of the above or none of the above?
All the above and much more.
Absolutely correct.
To be honest.
There you go. Yep, that's right. So we take the minerals out of the water, and then water basically, what happens? It's H2O with no inorganic minerals, and our body can absorb it. And then the next thing we want to do after that is we add the reverse osmosis. And the reverse osmosis is nanofiltration. So when you feed the reverse osmosis soft water, what we're doing then is allowing the reverse osmosis to remove pharmaceuticals. Mm-hmm. Other elements that we don't want, the total chlorine content, the PFAS.
Right.
Okay. So you were kind enough to bring in this information sheet, and I really think it's wonderful. And because your pronunciation of certain tough words are better than mine.
I don't know about that, but this is the most popular. When you ask people about what PFAS is, what the initials people hear the most.
Right. Forever chemicals. And so, perfluor. How do you say that word again?
Perfluorical.
Yes. All right. Pronounce those other. Go ahead. You read the first part. Read that.
Perfluorical and polyfluorical substances.
Which makes up PFAS.
PFAS, yeah,
That's
which
right.
we'll just go with PFAS from here on out.
Okay, but no, hold it. We started out, when we started this, how many chemicals?
Oh, just a few they listed.
Right, there's like 4.
Yeah.
And now where are we at? How many chemicals make up the PFAS family now?
Mm-hmm. A few hundred.
192. Yeah. And then when we started, it was a range around 17 parts per trillion.
Mm-hmm.
And now they want it down to 4 parts per trillion. And then you saw an article that you helped us out with that said, hey, really, you want none.
Yeah.
So the point is, you know how small a part per trillion is?
Very small.
So it's safe to say that it doesn't take a large number to have a contaminant.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what we have to pay attention to. See, a while back, we were talking to a customer in Highlands Ranch that lived and worked in Texas, and I think she worked for like a school district. And one of the things they knew back then was chemical contamination in water. But she said, "Yeah, but it's so small, it's not going to do anything." And I said, that's a great point. That's what everybody thought. It was so small, it's not going to do anything. But then they realized that small amount of contamination, it does a lot. Mm-hmm. To the point where everybody now has some form of PFAS contamination, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all over.
And the PFAS, just to give the technical term here, it's a family of toxic chemicals that accumulate in the environment and living organisms, earning them the nickname forever chemicals.
They don't go away. So what they are is they're chemicals that are like a water repellent. And they're really good. And so the problem is that these contaminants got bind back together like mercury does. Remember, separating mercury? Mm-hmm. And then you get it close and then it forms right back together. So that's what these contamination is. These chemicals form right back together instead of staying separated or diluted. They form back together. So the PFAS are linked to the following adverse and alarming health effects: thyroid disease. Can you imagine high cholesterol?
I know. And you look how many people are on
cholesterol medication.
You wonder why.
That's a separate topic. You're right. Heart and cardiovascular issues, ulcer, colitis. Colitis is horrible. Liver damage, liver tumors, kidney and testicular cancer, weakened immune systems, irritable bowel syndromes, hormone imbalance, DNA damage, and increased risk, severity of COVID-19 symptoms. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
I didn't either till I printed that out.
Right there, yeah. That's probably what happened to our poor president. We got, drank bad water in the COVID systems.
Exactly. Seriously, I think over these next 5 to 10 years, they're going to look back and see all these health things. Again, we've mentioned our cardiologist friend that was on a 9 News story, and still trying to get him on, by the way. Talked about, even in surgeries and different things, they're seeing microplastics in the human body, man.
Well, not only that, but microplastics and nanoplastics all over reproductive organs. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's in every aspect of the human reproductive, system, from male reproductive to female reproductive. It's all over. My fear is that we're going to have a birth defect linked to microplastics. Even maybe a miscarriage because of microplastics. And then here, if you have the PFAS or forever chemicals, it just said DNA damage. I mean, look at the triple whammies we're having right here. The triple whammies is pharmaceuticals in the water. That's the other issue. I mean, holy cow! So we got PFAS, microplastics, pharmaceuticals, and we're talking about the possibility of drinking your water and having DNA damage for the PFAS, right? Damage caused by excessive hormones in the water supply, pharmaceuticals, and then the microplastics affecting the reproductive organs.
Right.
That's a triple whammy right there. Mm-hmm. Now, back to PFAS, we also, found information on the internet that we shared with everybody where there were 2 farms, one in Michigan and one in Texas, where the waste treatment plants. I don't know if anybody out there was aware of this, but what happens with the human waste that they remove at waste treatment plants? They sell that for fertilizer. But now that fertilizer is highly contaminated with PFAS. And so 2 farms in Texas and, again, one in Michigan purchased the human waste for fertilizer,
right,
and contaminated their hay fields, which in return contaminated their cattle.
Sure. So
now what are we going to do with human waste if we can't use it for fertilizer because of the high levels of PFAS? Mm-hmm. Are they going to burn it, incinerate it, and is that going to be released? The PFAS is going to be released in the air.
Yep. Hey, here's the thing. We can help you out with all this. Simple call to Water Pros, 303-862-5554. A few specials we're doing. Number one, Paul will come out and do a